Hello, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Libra. All right, Libra, you're up. Before we get into the reading, just letting you know that I'm giving away another deck this month for February. This is going to be for Valentine's Day, and I'm giving away the Love Oracle deck, which is my new Oracle deck that I'm using for my weekly readings. If you want to check out the unboxing video for that, it is linked in the description. All you have to do, of course, is be subscribed to my channel and let me know that you're interested in receiving the deck as part of the draw. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Let's get right into it, my lovely Libras. We're going to pull out 3 of your Oracle cards. And of course, if you want to get a private reading, you can go ahead and follow the link at the top of your screen. Straight out, we have Girl with a Snake. This card has been showing up for a lot of the weeklies this week. It's really somebody who is very sort of charming, right? But they may be using you. They may be charming you a little bit. They have some ulterior motives. Stabbed in the back. Wow. So both of these cards came out for another reading. I forget which one it was, but both of these cards have been showing up this week. It's a rough week for some people. And the Runner. Wow. So the Runner, of course, stabbed in the back is quite obvious, right? Deception, lying, heartbreak. But the Runner is interesting also. The Runner is that person, of course, who is afraid of intimacy, right? This is the person who's going to leave as soon as there's any sign of things getting hot and heavy, things perhaps getting deeper, more committed. The Runner is the person who's going to ghost you all of a sudden. So those are some serious oracle cards for you this week, Libra. Let's just see what animal spirits you have. And then we'll go ahead and get into your traditional spread, all right? See what Libra's going through this week. It's February 1st to the 7th. It's the first full week of February that we're looking at. Show me. All right, so straight out we have the Bear. Earth energy, talking about waking up from a slumber, a spiritual slumber. The Owl, beautiful. Talks about certainly blessings coming in, wisdom. The Owl has always been a totem for abundance, wisdom coming in, blessings coming in. And the Butterfly, air energy. Of course, we're talking about major transformation here. The Butterfly is also the animal spirit for friendship. All right, let's get right into it. The Bear is an earth elemental, of course, and the Bear talks about waking up from a slumber, a spiritual slumber in a lot of ways, of course, right? So what we mean by that is that, it could be that right now you're beginning to open up that side of yourself. You may be, you may be having sort of an awakening coming in, epiphany happening, right? An understanding suddenly coming in. For some of you, you may have had an event that has happened that's kind of opened your eyes to the more spiritual side of life. It could just be that, this is the time for you to now really look at that part of your life, what you believe in, what you want to believe in. And oftentimes this comes because there was some sort of experience or event that has happened that kind of opens your eyes. And so wakes up the Bear, as it were. And in the beginning, it can seem a little bit awkward, right? Could even be that you attended some kind of event, maybe a healing event or spiritual event of some kind. And at first, it may feel like you're a fish out of water, but very soon you will find your feet and begin sort of to understand what your spiritual path in this life is. Now, the Owl. The Owl is air energy, and the Owl is, of course, the consort for Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess for beauty and abundance, love, beauty, abundance, creativity also. The Owl is synonymous with bringing blessings, right? It has always been for many cultures, really all over the world, it has been sort of a totem to mark the time when rewards begin to come in, wisdom begins to come in, understandings begin to come in. This is very much a card of blessing. And a lot of times with the owl, it isn't even so much that you've been working so hard and now the payoff comes. With the owl, we really talk about a blessing being bestowed on you, right? It really feels like right now you are being blessed. The universe is very much favoring you and bringing in the things that you need. The wisdom is very important also, because with owl energy, we talk about not only abundance coming in, but oftentimes the wisdom to know what to do with that abundance. So it's not like, you know, suddenly you get a bag of money dropped in your lap and you don't know what to do. There is a wisdom that comes with the blessings, and so this is why the owl is such a special animal spirit. The butterfly, another air animal, elemental, and the butterfly, of course, again, is one of those totems worldwide that is symbolic of transformation. Everybody associates the butterfly with a metamorphosis that we go through, right? Because even in the wild, in nature, you know, the moth turns into a butterfly, the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, rather. And so that is an amazing metamorphosis that the caterpillar goes through to become this beautiful creature, right? Butterfly animal spirit also talks about that. Right now, some of you Libras may be going through a real metamorphosis, a real change. On all levels, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It can make sense that the bear animal spirit, excuse me, the bear animal spirit is up also, because that, you know, that entering into a spiritual life, that could be part of this transformation that you're experiencing. The one thing, of course, with the butterfly animal spirit is that transformation is not easy. It is difficult. And now is also the time to very much depend on your friends, right? The ones that you trust, the ones that you have a bond and loyalty with. Butterfly energy also talks about during a transformation, the need to rely on those around you who you love. You know, don't be afraid or hesitant to sort of reach out to your friends, right? That's what they're there for. And, you know, oftentimes in this life, we're always ready to sort of help our friends out when they need us. But a lot of times, a lot of people have difficulty asking for help for themselves, right? Or accepting it. And so while you're going through this metamorphosis, this transformation in your life, please do reach out to the people who care about you, that you trust to help you through this stage, all right? Okay, guys. So Libra, let's pull out your spreads for this week, February 1st to the 6th. To the 7th. And again, these spreads are intended to be for separate Libras, so they're not for the same Libra necessarily. So you may only resonate with one of them or a portion of it, and that's fine. This is only one reading, right, out of many, many readings out there. So if it doesn't resonate with you or apply to your life, then just let it go. This reading is not for you. Straight out, we have Strength, King of Wands, Seven of Pentacles. So some of you are coming into this week very strong, putting boundaries in place, definitely. Girl with the Snake talks about that. You know, this can also be oftentimes an individual who, you know, they slowly overstep their bounds, right? I mean, you may not even realize it, because the whole time they're really just charming you, right? Making you believe perhaps that they're there for you, you know, let down your guard. And before you know it, they're sort of in there, right? So Strength energy, Libra, really talks about putting those boundaries up, enforcing those boundaries with people, maintaining your own strength. Strength is also just understanding when to sort of realize you've had enough as well, right? Standing up to sort of people or environments or, you know, situations that you realize, you know, that you no longer want in your life. Standing up to those and maintaining your own sort of power base. So you're coming into this week, some of you Libras really sort of focused on this. It could be with friendships or even at work, that you're sort of like standing in your power, establishing your boundaries. You come into the week with this and you're met with the King of Wands energy. I believe the King of Wands is definitely going to be somebody who comes into your life. It could be someone through work, right? Or it could just be someone that you meet in your day-to-day sort of activities. And this person's, you know, is going to be very inspirational in a lot of ways. The King of Wands is the leader of men because he sort of leads by example. He oftentimes sets the bar, you know, very high. He always has a vision for himself, right? And it's interesting because by the end of the week, you round the week off with the Seven of Pentacles. And I think meeting this individual, this King of Wands, whoever this is, really makes you reevaluate what you're doing with your life, because Seven of Pentacles really talks about reevaluating where you're at with your dreams and your hopes and your wishes. You know, where are you with all of that? And are you happy with the work that you're doing? Are you happy with the things that you're trying to accomplish? And so it's interesting that the King of Wands, it could be, again, when we get back to the bear, that awakening from slumber, it could very well be, Libra, that just as you are deciding to start maybe putting boundaries in place, maybe not, you know, I'm going to say not giving up on certain friendships, but being, you know, really changing your life in a lot of ways. Butterflies transformation. A lot of you Libras are going to be changing your life in terms of, like, you know, who you're letting in, who you're allowing to get close, right? It's kind of like you're having that whole sort of change. And then at the same time, you're meeting this person, King of Wands, who's very inspirational. And I think they're going to just even spur this change on more for you Libras. A lot of you are this week really looking at your life, you know, your connections, your friendships, and also your career, your work, what it is you're doing. And I think a lot of you are having sort of a reinvention of your life, right? Changing of the type of people you want to deal with, the type of interactions you have, and possibly also changing the type of work you do. And this King of Wands is definitely going to be a personality or a character of someone who is going to only spur you on even further. Judgment, Page of Wands, and the Tower. So some of you are coming in this week with Judgment energy. Judgment is all about reconciliation in a lot of ways. Judgment, the energy with this card is that you're really sort of starting to see things from more than just your own narrow viewpoint, right? Judgment talks about life sort of experiences coming in and teaching us that things aren't just black and white. Things are not just black and white. Things are not just sort of, you know, yes or no. You know, there's a shade of gray. There's a balance there in life. And certain experiences that we have really teach us that everyone has their own point of view, right? You know, and then until you go through what somebody else is going through, you're not necessarily always going to understand their choices. And so understanding this, perhaps some of the most recent events in your life have really gotten you to sort of realize this. And so you're going back, Judgment talks about also going back to certain events in your life where you may have felt, you know, now that I'm a little older, a little wiser, looking back on that event, you know, maybe I could have handled it better. Or it really talks about also, you know, this feeling of wanting to reconcile with someone because now you understand the situation a little bit better. You understand it better now than you did at the time when you and this person perhaps fell out or stopped speaking or what have you. So Judgment oftentimes it's one of those cards that's like, it's not about judgment, it's about letting go of judgment more than anything. And so you're coming into this week with this energy, like you're really sort of, you know, becoming wiser, having a bit more understanding, and certainly wanting to reconcile with someone out there. Page of Wands comes in. And this feeling of reconciliation, you kind of follow this through, right? Page of Wands this week, I want to say you're being extremely idealistic about it. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. I want to wait till this the siren goes by. This Page of Wands is very idealistic, is very sort of fearless, right? Page of Wands talks about really overcoming the fear of following your heart, not worrying about, you know, what people think of you, if they think that, if they think that you're being crazy, they don't understand your vision, they don't understand your ideals, you don't care about that. Pages are always about overcoming fear in that suit. And so I want to say that this week, some of you Libras may be coming into this week really gung-ho about, you know, speaking to someone, reconciling with someone on some level. You feel very idealistic about it. It's almost like a part of your new path, I want to say. For some of you with the bear energy, if you're starting to sort of, like I said, get more into the spiritual side of life, it could be that as a result of that, you're wanting to go back to some of your relationships and maybe see if they're mendable or fixable, what have you. However, although you are very gung-ho about it, you're feeling very strong and confident about it, you do round the week off with a Tower. And a Tower really talks, of course, a Tower moment is a shock, right? So somewhere along the line, it's interesting because you have such you have just fairly toxic love oracle cards, right? And the Oracle cards aren't always just about a love connection. They can be about all kinds of connections. It's interesting that although you're coming into the week with this really positive energy of perhaps wanting to fix the situation, by the end of the week, you're really surprised. I think you're really shocked because I think you may find that although you may be ready to talk and reconcile, the other individual or the other person in this dynamic may not be. Or you may indeed get to a point of talking to them or maybe interacting with them, but something really shocking is going to come out of all of this that you never really expected. Could even be a feeling of, wanting to reconcile with somebody, having a conversation with them about whatever the event was, and then finding out that things were even worse than you thought, right? Or that they did worse things than what you originally assumed. It's a real sort of wake-up call about something this week, Libra. And again, with it being a tower moment, it's going to be really shocking to you, right? It's going to be really kind of like, wow, I stopped speaking to you, or we stopped speaking because I thought you were an asshole. And now I find out that, not only are you an asshole, but you're like an evil asshole or something like that, right? It's a real wake-up call that almost feels like you're going to be thinking, damn, here I thought I was going to sort of mend bridges with this person, and it's like the bridge has been completely obliterated. Whatever this event is, whatever this tower moment is, it's going to be a huge wake-up call. 8 of Cups, 7 of Cups, and 2 of Swords. Wow. Some of you are coming into this week having made the decision. Again, like I said, a lot of you Libras, it feels like this is a week where you're changing your life. You're really putting a lot of sort of intention into actually changing, your relationships with people, the type of relationships you have, the type of people you're surrounding yourself with, right? 8 of Cups is all about that. So some of you are coming into the week with an 8 of Cups attitude, and that's very much turning your back, turning your back on shallow relationships, turning your back on relationships that don't give you anything in return, where you just pour your heart out and your energy out, and you just find that it just doesn't do any good, right? You just find yourself constantly sort of like, wondering, what's the point? You know what I mean? And so you make this decision to sort of say no. You make this decision to actually turn your back and walk away from some of these connections. You come into the week with this energy, and 7 of Cups is what meets you. And so there's a real sort of like back and forth, I think, for some of you, because you round off with 2 of Swords, which is indecision. On the one hand, you have a situation, and this is going to be, I think, certainly about a love connection. On the one hand, you're sick of them, you're sick of everything they put you through, you're walking away. On the other hand, this week, you're still sort of daydreaming about it, still wondering about it, still hoping that maybe this could turn out well. And it seems to be very much like 2 sides of the same coin. You know on the one hand that it's not working out and this relationship is not really what you deserve or desire. And on the other hand, you're still really, really caught up in what you wish it to be. Because 7 of Cups is all about sort of wishing. It's very wishful, very daydreamy. It's sometimes unrealistic, wanting things that are unrealistic, expecting goals, to achieve certain goals or certain situations that are unrealistic to expect you to achieve. And you just keep going back and forth. You round the week off with 2 of Swords, and that's like it's called the land of indecision sometimes, the 2 of Swords. That's what people, of course, say. I mean, it's like having 2 things, right? You just can't choose. And here it feels very much like, you can't choose whether or not to stay with them and really be in this unhappy relationship, or leaving them and you're just kind of pining away here with the 7 of Cups and still thinking about them and thinking about them. And for some of you this week, it's really you might have to find a balance. 2 of Swords is all about finding a balance, Libra. And I'm just going to say that it could very well be that what needs to happen here is that the nature of the relationship needs to change, right? You may not necessarily have to completely walk away from them, but you definitely will have to get a bit more grounded, right? And a bit more realistic about what can and cannot happen here in this connection, right? Part of the reason why it's not working out is because of this, you holding on to this 7 of Cups energy that keeps coming in, this where you're really just sort of daydreaming and wishing for the relationship to be a certain way, and it just isn't. So if you can ground yourself a bit more and do a bit more practical work on this connection and maybe put more boundaries in place, because 8 of Cups is all about putting boundaries in place. maybe you don't necessarily need to completely leave them, right? Which you can't do anyway, it seems like, right? You just can't forget about them. So that instead, put boundaries in place, put the right boundaries in place with them, and say, look, this is how we're going to interact. This is how we're going to do this, right? And if you do that, then you can definitely find a third way, which is balance, right? It's a way to have them in your life, but have them in your life so that they're not constantly being such a source of sort of unhappiness. All right, Libra, this is your reading, February 1st to the 7th. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget, I'm giving away for Valentine's Day the Love Oracle card deck. I'm still waiting for another one of these decks to come from the creator, which I will be unboxing and sharing with you. And check out my GoFundMe campaign, which I will link also at the top of the screen, where I'm trying to raise money to increase the amount of unboxings and giveaways. But just go ahead and follow that link and you'll find out all about it there, and the whole idea of what I want to do, the series, etc., etc. But in any case, for right now, Libra, have a wonderful first week of February, and I'll see you next week for your weekly. Bye-bye now.